In the endless hush before the dawn, where time itself dared not to tread, a shadow slept beneath the stars, and darkness wore a crown of dread. Rivers whispered secrets no ears could hear. Marble walls breathed cold as stone, and in the heart of night's own soul, a lonely king sat, ruler of the unknown. No sun could pierce his silent halls, no mortal song could stir his air, yet in the stillness a flicker came, a promise, a whisper of one not there. And so the world held its trembling breath, for fate had stirred and soon would wake, the queen of life, the bloom of spring, and with her shadow's bonds would break. Before the sun had kissed the world, before the moon had learned to weep, there lay a realm of silent whispers, a kingdom where shadows sleep. No song had yet been sung, no wind had stirred the air. Only the endless blackness stretched, infinite, bare. Here sat Hades, lord of all that fades, the keeper of the end, his eyes deep pools of midnight, where eternity might bend. Marble spires rose like frozen storms, cold as forgotten tears, and rivers of shadow ran eternal, carrying the weight of years. Silence moved around him, thick as velvet night, yet in that solemn stillness glimmered a single spark of light. Loneliness, a quiet crown upon his brow, heavy and vast, for even kings of endings dream, and dream of what might last. No mortal dared his halls, no god would trespass near, yet fate, unseen, began its stir, a whisper soft yet clear. A bloom of life, a spark of spring, a soul untouched by fear, would soon descend, a fleeting star, to stir the kings austere. And so the world held trembling breath, suspended in the hush, for the dance of shadow and of light was soon to break the crush. The queen of life, the flower of bloom, would cross the threshold dark, and with her weave a story sung by time, leaving a mortal mark. Beneath the sky of tender blue, where sunlight danced like liquid gold, there wandered Persephone, a bloom of spring, bright and bold. Her hair a river of honey, her laughter a song of air, she moved through meadows wild and free, without a care. Flowers bowed as she passed, petals brushing against her feet. Rivers whispered her name, in currents soft and sweet. Birdsong trembled in the branches, a melody of delight, and even the wind seemed hesitant, fearing to break her light. Yet, far beyond the sunlit hills, the earth slept thick and deep, where shadows swirled and secret things refused to sleep. Unseen, unheard, a dark chariot waited, still as stone, its master watching silently, the king who reigned alone. Persephone plucked a crimson bloom, its scent sharp as a dream, not knowing that in the world beneath nothing is as it seems. The soil beneath her shivered, the air grew dense and cold, and fate, with patient fingers, began its tale of bold. For in the quiet of that meadow, a bridge between the two worlds lay, where life's bright flame would meet the dark, where night would touch the day. And Hades in his shadowed halls felt a stir within his chest, a pulse, a promise, a spark of life that would not rest. So the stage was set, the hour near, the dance of shadow and bloom begun. The mortal girl, the lord of death, their destinies spun as one. The meadow shivered beneath the breath of the earth, as if the world itself had whispered the arrival of Hades. From the depths a chariot black as midnight rose, wheels of shadow spinning, veiled in silent throes. Horses of smoke and fire, eyes like molten stars, struck the air with thunder, splitting heaven from afar. And there he stood, the king of endings, tall and grave, a crown of gloom upon his brow, a master of the cave. Persephone froze, a petal caught in the wind's sharp breath, her heart a drum of fear, of wonder, of impending death. Yet beauty shone unwavering in her mortal, tender frame, and even darkness paused, recognizing her flame. "Come," whispered Hades, his voice both velvet and stone. "A queen awaits in shadows to sit upon the throne." But she, a blossom unbowed, trembled and pulled away. "I am of the light, of sun, of spring. I cannot stay." The chariot roared like storms unbound, the ground a cracking drum, the air a prism of shadow and light, vibrating with what's to come. In one swift, fateful motion, the earth split open wide, a maw of night reached up, swallowing the world outside. Persephone fell like a comet, golden hair aflame, through veils of shadow, through rivers of whispering names. Each second stretched, each heartbeat a drum of eternity, the mortal realm above fading, giving way to Hades' decree. And then she landed softly, not broken but alive, in the halls of endless night where shadows breathe and thrive. The gates of obsidian loomed, carved with ancient sorrow, a kingdom of endings waiting for tomorrow. Thus began the descent, a journey of fear and grace, where mortal light would meet immortal dark, face to face. The air pulsed with destiny, the underworld awake, and Hades, silent, watched the mortal flower he could not forsake. The gates of obsidian loomed, etched with runes older than time, veins of shadow crawling across their surface like whispered rhyme. Persephone's eyes widened, a bloom of sunlight lost in night, as the underworld stretched before her, both dreadful and bright. Marble halls rose like frozen storms, ceilings kissing the unseen sky, columns carved with the sighs of souls, silent echoes drifting by. Rivers of ink and silver wound through the kingdom's veins, carrying whispers of the lost, their joy, their grief, their chains. Hades walked among the shadows, his cloak a ripple of void and flame, each step a command, each glance a reckoning none could tame. Yet beneath the weight of darkness, a tremor of longing stirred, a silent pulse for a spark of life he had never before heard. "Fear not," he intoned, voice rolling like distant thunder. "Though all you know lies above, the world below is no blunder." Persephone trembled, yet curiosity wove through her fear. The underworld, though grim, held a strange beauty near. Stalactites dripped with frozen fire, shadows danced along the walls. Fires of blue and violet cast shapes that twisted, rose, and fell. Souls floated like drifting lanterns, glowing soft and pale. Each one a story unfinished, a flicker that would never fail. Hades paused, extending a hand dark as midnight silk. "Walk with me, and see the heartbeat of what you fear to ilk." Persephone's steps faltered, yet the world called her deeper still, into the dance of shadow and light. Beneath the mountains chill, here the underworld was not merely death, but a kingdom alive, where sorrow and power, despair and beauty together did thrive. And Hades, the lord of endings, moved with a grace unseen, not a tyrant, not a monster, but a king of what might have been. The rivers whispered, the shadows bowed, and Persephone felt the weight of a realm eternal, a destiny strange, a love wrapped in fate. Persephone's heart, a drum of sunlight, trembled in the shadowed halls, her steps uncertain, yet drawn toward the darkness quiet calls. "Why am I here?" she whispered, voice a ripple over frozen stone. "This world is not mine, its cold and shadow unknown." Hades' gaze fell upon her, dark as the deepest river bend. Because life alone cannot touch eternity, and even kings must bend. I am not cruel, nor blind, though my realm is fearsome to see. I am the keeper of endings, yet something of you calls to me. Persephone shivered, yet fire flared in her mortal breast. You speak of endings, yet I am alive, I will not rest. She lifted her chin, defiance mingling with awe. I will not bend to shadows, though I walk where none else draw. Hades stepped closer, a mountain of calm and quiet storm. You mistake fear for tyranny and cold for form. The underworld is not the void you think it to be. It is a mirror of all life, all that was, all that will be. Around them, shadows danced like living smoke, curling and twisting. Rivers of whispered souls swirled, their murmurs resisting. Persephone's eyes caught each glow, each flicker of lost light, and slowly she understood the depth, the majesty, the weight of night. I see, she breathed, a tremor soft as dawn's first hue. This place holds life too, though hidden from the view. Hades inclined his head, silent approval in his stillness deep. And yet, even here the heart longs, even kings cannot their longing keep. In that space between fear and awe, a bridge began to form, a delicate thread of understanding, gentle yet warm. Persephone, mortal flower, and Hades, lord of night's embrace, found the first flicker of connection, a quiet, trembling grace. Thus began the dance of shadow and light, of mortal and immortal will, a story of tension and recognition, of hearts bending yet standing still. Beneath the vaulted sky of shadowed stone, where rivers of midnight sang in silver tone, Persephone wandered, a bloom of light caught in a tide of endless night, where mortal and immortal collide. The pomegranate lay in her hand, crimson as sunset's flame, each seed a whisper of destiny, each taste a binding name. To choose, hummed the rivers, to bind or to release, to walk with shadow's master or return to spring's peace. Her fingers trembled, yet fire danced beneath her skin, a rhythm of life, of courage, of the song within. One seed, two seeds, the taste of worlds unknown, each bite a chord struck deep, in darkness overthrown. Hades watched, his gaze a tempest soft and wide, a symphony of longing, restraint, and pride. Do not fear, he whispered, voice a cello's deep refrain. Even in shadow, you may find what hearts sustain. The underworld quivered, as if the earth itself took breath. The walls alive with echoes of life, of love, of death. Souls rose like notes in an unseen, endless choir, and shadows danced, spun and soared, lit by unseen fire. Persephone stood at the threshold, twilight wrapped around her form, neither fully mortal nor fully bound by storm. She smiled, a single arc of dawn, fragile yet bright, a song of choice, of power, of merging dark with light. I will remain, she sang softly, each word a silver bell, half in your world, half where the flowers dwell. The pomegranate consumed, a symphony of fates entwined, her essence weaving shadow and bloom, body and mind. Hades extended his hand, no chains, only trust and awe. Then walk with me, Persephone, through eternity's raw. And so the underworld breathed anew. Rivers and shadows stirred, a kingdom transformed by love, by choice, by word. The dance of darkness and life now complete, yet beginning still, a melody of endings and beginnings sung on fate's own quill. The underworld exhaled a symphony, a song of shadow and of flame. Rivers shimmered like molten glass, singing softly Hades' name. Persephone stood beside him, half light, half shadow, fully alive, her heartbeat a drum, her presence the pulse that made darkness thrive. Mountains of stone bowed beneath a sky of unseen stars, the air thick with whispers of ancients, of wars and of scars. And yet, in the stillness a harmony arose, pure and bright, the underworld alive, not cruel but wondrous in its night. Together, she whispered, voice like bells over velvet seas, together we weave the ends, the beginnings, the mysteries. Hades, his crown a constellation of shadowed flame, inclined, a king softened by the bloom of light, destiny intertwined. The rivers of souls rose like violins, their song a rising tide. Shadows danced in arcs of silver, swirling, turning, wide. The lost and wandering found rhythm, a melody of grace, each note a life remembered, each silence a sacred place. Above, the mortal world trembled with the coming of the spring. Below, the realm of endings hummed, a realm reborn in king. Seasons now danced in measured cadence, spring and winter bound, life and death, shadow and bloom, a harmony profound. Persephone laughed, a sound like sunrise spilling over frost, and Hades smiled, the echo of eternity in his eyes, never lost. Together they stood, rulers of life's end and beginning anew. A cosmic duet, a dance of shadow and light breaking through. The gates of the underworld no longer loomed as chains of dread, but opened wide like a stage where all stories are read. The stars themselves leaned close, listening to the song they made, a melody of love, of power, of choices unafraid. And in that final note, the world held its breath, suspended and bright, for darkness and light had merged, and everything felt right. Hades and Persephone, king and queen, shadow and bloom, had turned the end into a beginning, and silence into room. Thus ends the tale, yet in every heartbeat, every sigh, every spark, their story plays on, a symphony carved into the dark. And so, in shadow and bloom their melody drifts through time, an endless dance where night and light entwine,